It's a Manchester derby between Manchester United against Manchester City, a match which will be played at Old Trafford. Which team is going to paint the city of Manchester red or blue? Well, I'm here to break it down for you guys. And before we get to that, do remember to view, like, subscribe and share. Also hit that notification button so that you can be amongst the first ones to be notified when we do drop a new comment. Also drop a comment on the comment section down below and I'll be sure to sample some of them on our next show. And this is the week 10 of the English Premier League, and of course it's a very big match between Manchester United and Manchester City, and Manchester United will be playing at home, that is Old Trafford. Manchester City on the other side will be traveling to Manchester United. Do remember that Manchester City is under the tutelage of Pep Guardiola, and Manchester United on the other side is under the stewardship of able hands of Eric Ten Hag. Well, let's get the show started, and do remember also to get the front seat so that you can get all the nitty-gritties concerning these two great match. Well, it's a derby and we have so many aspects to cover when it comes to derby, and let's just start by the log, and we see that Manchester City currently is at 12th position in the log, and Manchester United on the other side is in the 8th position in the log. And so far Manchester United have played a total of 9 matches. They've won 5 of them. They've drawn 0 matches so far, and they've lost a total of 4 points, amassing a total of 15 points. And Manchester City on the other side have also played a total of 9 matches, and they've won 7 matches, they've drawn none, and so far they've lost a total of 2 matches, accumulating 21 points so far in this week 10 of the English Premier League. Before we move on, let's look at the last 5 matches that both Manchester United and Manchester City have played, that is head-to-head matches. And in these last 5 matches that Manchester City have met United, we see that Manchester City have an upper hand against Manchester United, and the match that they played last season, that was in the FA Cup final, and Manchester City managed to beat Manchester United by 2-1, going all the way and lifting the FA Cup in that final. And the other match that they played, that was in last season, and it was on 14th January, and we see that Manchester United managed to defeat Manchester City by 2-1. The other match also that Manchester City did play against Manchester United was way back in 2002, and Manchester City managed to defeat Manchester by a very huge margin of 6 goals against Manchester United 3. The other match that they also played was way back also in 2022, and Manchester City won that match also by 4-1. And finally, that the last match that they played was also in 2021, and Manchester City came out victors, defeating Manchester United by 2-0. Well, those are last 5 matches between Manchester United against Manchester City. Well, let's come also to the last fixtures in all competition that these two teams have managed to play so far this season of 2023-2024 season. And Manchester United managed to defeat Galatasaray by 3-2. They lost another match against Crystal Palace by solitary goal. They also managed to defeat Brentford by 2-1, and they also defeated Sheffield United by 2-1. And finally, in the UEFA Champions League, they managed to defeat Copenhagen by a solitary goal. That goal was scored by Harry Maguire. And on the other side, Manchester City lost their match against Wolves, and they defeated RB Leipzig in the UEFA Champions League by a solitary goal. And Manchester City lost their other match. It was against Arsenal, and Manchester City lost that match by 1 1-0. And recently Manchester City have managed to win 2 matches on the trot, defeating Brighton 2-1 and also defeating Young Boys 3-1. Well, let's look at the two teams' formation, at the kind of football or the kind of formation that these two teams are going to use coming into this match. And we see that Manchester United is going to use a very compact 4-5-1 formation, and Manchester City on the other side is just normal, that they have been using a formation of 4-3-3 all along. Well, coming to this match, we have players to watch, and we see that Manchester United have Rashford, they also have Bruno Fernandes, and they have Højlund. But just to mention that it has not been working this season for Marcus Rashford, because he has been on and off and he has not been delivering the goals and the assists that we are used to coming from Marcus Rashford. Well, Bruno Fernandes on the other side has not also really performed this season, but we still have a long way to go till the end of the season of 2023-2024, and maybe they can kickstart their season against Manchester City. The other player to watch out on Manchester side is Rasmus Højlund. So far, Højlund has not scored for Manchester United in the English Premier League, but he is among the top scorers in the UEFA Champions League. And the other side on Manchester City are players to watch. Of course, there's Haaland. Of course, this Haaland is the top scorer this season so far. There's also Phil Foden. There is Rodri. By the way, Rodri is making a comeback into this Manchester City after serving his 3-match ban. And on that period, we saw that Manchester City really suffered, because we know the strength of Manchester City is based in that midfield. And when Rodri was not in that midfield, Manchester City was not really performing, and they went on not winning 3 matches. That is the first time that is happening in the Manchester City side since the era of Pellegrini. And on the other side, that the player to watch also in this Manchester City side is Bernardo Silva. Well, coming to this match, we see that Manchester United is having a home advantage, and the 12th man, that is the crowd, will it really count for Manchester coming to this match? Well, we only have time to tell. And the other thing that I would also like to mention or to touch on is the kind of play between these two teams, because they are two different contrasting kind of play that these two teams mainly adapt when they play. We see that Manchester United like playing counter-attack football, and Manchester City on the other side play a very structured kind of model, that is the tiki-taka kind of football coming into this match. Coming to this match also, what can Manchester do really to counter Manchester City, and what can Manchester City do to counter Manchester United? What I will urge Manchester United not to do in this match is to play a high line against Manchester City, because Manchester City have players who can hurt Manchester United by a single touch or maybe a single dribble. So I just like to urge Manchester United, if they want to get something out of this match, is not to play high line in this match, and they will just like to soak in the pressure, then try to hit Manchester City on the counter attack. And I think that Manchester City on the other side, what they can do to hurt Manchester also is try to overload that midfield, and they have very, very good players in that Manchester City setup who can hurt Manchester United, because they have very good ball players, and they can keep the ball for longer periods compared to Manchester United. And in that sense, I'm speaking about the likes of Rodri, I'm speaking the likes of Bernardo Silva, I'm also speaking the likes of Phil Foden, who will also be in that attack for Manchester City. Well, let's get to the probable lineup for Manchester United that is likely to do service for Erik ten Hag this coming weekend. We see that Onana will be between the post, will be assisted by Harry Maguire and Varane in that center of defense. Then of course Reguilon and Dalot on the other side of the flank, that will be the defense for Manchester United. Then Amrabat will be playing as an anchor in that midfield, sitting in front of that back four for Manchester United. Then will be assisted by the very informed player in the name of Scott McTominay in that midfield. Then on the flanks, of course, there's Anthony and there's Rashford, and in that number 10 role, it will be Bruno Fernandes, who will act as a link between midfield and attack. And on the other side, Manchester City, they will have Ederson in between the posts. They'll be assisted by Ruben Dias, Kyle Walker, and Nathan Ake. That will be the four-man defense for Manchester City. And in that midfield, there's Rodri, who is making a comeback, and I think that this time round will be assisted by John Stones. Then there will be Alvarez, there will be Haaland, then there will be also Gavidiol in that defense, and there will be Bernardo Silva, and finally there will be Phil Foden. And one particular player who is missing for Manchester United is a very crucial player in the name of Casemiro. We see that Casemiro has been injured and he won't be able to take part in this derby pitting Manchester United against Manchester City. Well, the other thing that I will also like to mention out is that Manchester City are very, very dangerous in those pockets of space, and we see that they also have the pacey players in the name of Doku. Doku is having a very good season, and remember that he has just been signed recently by Pep Guardiola. So I think coming to this match, it will be a very tactical match. That is Erik ten Hag and of course Pep Guardiola. But so far Manchester United has not been having a very good season. Manchester City also have ups and downs coming into this match, but I do expect a very explosive match between these two English sides in this match. Well, the other thing that I will also like to mention coming into this match is that Rodri. I think that Rodri is a world-class player, and if Manchester United midfield is not really on the lookout, I think that Rodri can do damage, because he's the one who dictates the pace of that Manchester City midfield, and he covers every blade of the pitch, every inch of the pitch, to make sure that Manchester City ticks on all boxes in that midfield. And as we know that Manchester City strength is in that midfield, so Manchester United can really try to explore that Manchester City defense, because defensively they are not so solid. And the proof coming to this match is that the last 5 matches that Manchester City have played so far, they have been conceding, and Manchester United can take advantage of that and try to score as a few goals to see what will really happen. Well, guys, that has been all from me this time round. I'm your host, Molo Collins, and I do hope that we'll do this next time when we do meet. Keep on sharing, and also keep on subscribing, and tell a friend to tell a friend also to subscribe. Let's do this again next time when we do meet. I'm your host, Molo Collins. Let's do this again. It's bye-bye for now.